carry folks who have served and are currently serving around the world. So I like to keep them in mind as we conduct our civic activities together. Towards that end, again, I'm gonna keep a timer so that when you're up here and you're speaking, all the candidates are gonna follow the program. So the list that's in the program is the sequence of speakers. And I'm as moderator, I'm gonna keep time. And when the first candidate's done and their time is up and they're going to sit down, the next candidate's just gonna come up and speak. You guys can all read. So if you're a candidate, just keep track of who's up there and when you're coming next and come on up. But I'll keep you on because that's gonna be important today. Dan, any other housekeeping? Yeah, restrooms are in that direction. There's some cookies and some water in the back left corner too. All around, you'll see the candidates on the tables. They brought you some materials to share. You can take that or I take it as you wish. Another election item. This coming edition of the Morning Messenger on Wednesday, the 22nd, will contain a sample ballot. So if you haven't seen what the ballot looks like, then you're gonna see the May 12th primary that'll be published in the newspaper by the county clerk's office. And we'll also have some statements from candidates if you want to know a little bit more about them. And if you have any questions for me afterwards, or want to stick around to talk to the candidates afterwards, you're very welcome to do that. Dan, will you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. You'll see that the program as we have Mr. Titus who's going to start us off, but you'll see that the program is divided into the nonpartisan and then the partisan part of the primary part of the ballot. So for those of you who aren't aware, the items on the left part of this page, the nonpartisan, those offices will be decided during the May 12th primary. So your judicial candidates, your school board candidates, and the school excess levy renewal will be decided at the May 12th primary. Party primaries will decide who makes it to the November ballot. So that's why we have it divided that way. And I think we're ready for our first speaker.
I haven't batted leadoff since Little League, so thank you very much. And thank you, Ms. Shoney, for putting me near the front of the agenda. We did 5 hours in the car. We're going to speak for 5 minutes, then we're 5 hours back in the car to get to the State Bar annual meeting tonight. Thank you, Daryl Coles, for alerting me to this opportunity. I'm thankful to be with you today. I am West Virginia Supreme Court Justice Gerald Titus. I currently serve in the statewide seat designated as Division 1. It's my honor to serve on the court with the other 4 Supreme Court justices, including your own Charles Trump. I'm sure you're proud of him. I was home last night in Roane County speaking, and it was very emotional for me to have so many of my teachers and coaches and neighbors just come up and say how proud they were that somebody from little old Roane County ended up on the West Virginia Supreme Court. I was appointed to the court last year. About 10 minutes after I was sworn in, I voted on my first case. I've been hearing arguments from the bench with the other justices, deliberating in a process that is, in my view, been marked by civil discourse and deciding cases, voting on cases. We hear criminal appeals, civil appeals. About 40% of what we hear are child abuse and neglect cases. Of course, that's way too much. So far this term, we've issued about 120 opinions. There are others that have been decided. There's some still in the works. We have arguments for 2 days. Next week, I worked on opinions in the car ride, up here and gonna do some more on the way back. I have spent my career outside the political realm. I wasn't sure whether to apply for this position. I had never met the governor. The first time I met him is when I interviewed for this position. There was amended, and I spent about 2 hours on two separate occasions with the governor talking constitutional interpretation, rules of statutory interpretation. And so Dad risked the biscuit. So I thought that was pretty good advice. And so I was selected, and here we are. So why do I want to serve as a Supreme Court justice? At 48 years old, 22 years of legal practice, married, father of three. My children are 10, 8, 4 years old. I had a successful practice. I was a partner in one of the largest and oldest law firms in the state, founded in 1864. I'm in the absolute prime of my legal career, but I just got tired of talking about how do we make our state better as a whole unified state? How do we do that? How do we make it better for our children? And I wanted to put my experience to work. I have been in civil practice. I've been a federal prosecutor. I prosecuted violent crime in the Southern District of West Virginia. And I just knew that I was in a perfect sweet spot of my legal career where I have the experience to do the job and frankly, getting in and doing the job. I have never felt professionally that I was in the exact right spot before in my life. And so I'm certain I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I have the experience to do the job, but I have a lot to give. I'm never going to have more to give, I don't think, than right this moment. And I just didn't want to wait on the sidelines any longer. Um, my judicial philosophy, very simple. Apply the law as it's written, faithfully adhere to the Constitution, take politics out of the judiciary. You don't, I don't, nobody should decide cases based on politics or social status or who you know or where you're from or anything other than the law. Thank you. You're not clapping for me, you're clapping for that idea, and that hardens me. Because I say that over and over and over, and that feedback is really important to me. I'm going to carry that energy with me. Thank you for saying that. I am endorsed by lots of folks, the Fraternal Order of Police, the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce, the Business and Industry Council, the West Virginia Healthcare Association,
Got 30 seconds.
the West. I was going to hit it on the nose already. The West Virginia Manufacturers Association, and this week our state's Attorney General J.B. McCuskey offered his personal endorsement. When I'm at work, my kids know to get my attention, they hand me a note, and my daughter handed me a note. It said, "Did you win Supreme Court? Yes or no?" Help me circle yes. For her, for all our children, for our grandchildren, for our state. I'm Supreme Court Justice Gerald Titus. Thank you. Thank you very much.
My name's Dan Greer, and first thing I want to say, Gerald and I are not running against each other. He's running for Supreme Court. I'm running for ICA, so I don't have to disappoint his daughter. Okay? So that's first of all, I want to thank Morgan County for the wisdom that you've provided me for many years. And what I mean by that, when I was a young delegate sent to the House of Delegates way back in 1995, there was another delegate that was assigned to me as my mentor, whose job it was to try to keep me out of trouble. And I'm not sure he totally succeeded, but his name was Charles Trump. And so when I was in the House of Delegates from Kanawha County, Charles was assigned to mentor me, try to straighten me out, and to try to keep me out of trouble. And I think I gave him a headache for the entire time I was there. But I also have thanks to Daryl Coles. He also alerted me to this event. So thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here. Again, my name's Dan Greer. I'm from Kanawha County. I hope you won't hold that against me too much. I'm a South Charleston boy. I've lived there all my life when I wasn't in school. Graduated from law school in 1992. I have a wife of 34 years and 2 children. My oldest is a captain in the Marine Corps after graduating from the Naval Academy, and my youngest is graduating from law school this May. But after graduating from law school, I spent 20 years as a litigator traveling around the state. During that period, I served as a delegate for a time. In 2013, I changed career paths and went to work in the Attorney General's office for then Attorney General Morrissey for 2 years as his chief counsel. In 2014, I went to the House of Delegates, first under then Speaker Tim Armstead, who was later Justice, who we tragically lost this past fall. We got to work there for 8 years in the legislature, briefly a circuit judge, and later was appointed to the ICA, the new court that was created in 2022. So I've experienced in all three branches of government. I think that's critical to understand the role of the judge and stay in the proper lane and understand what you're supposed to do. The ICA was created in 2022. It's a brand new court. It's underneath the Supreme Court, above the circuit courts and family judges. So Gerald, in a sense, is my boss in a way. So I have to be careful to make sure I don't get him on my bad side here. But there's a couple of reasons I think the legislature created our court, helped the docket of the Supreme Court, make sure cases move along, everybody gets an appeal heard. And I think we've been very successful in doing that. Since our creation, we've decided over 1,800 cases. About 80% of them don't get appealed. Everybody can appeal our case to the Supreme Court. The vast majority of the time that doesn't happen and the case ends. And when it happens, it's quicker, it's cheaper, it's a more concise process, and everybody gets done quicker, and the case is over. And the cases that have been appealed, again, I said we've decided 1,800 cases. Only 18 have been anything other than absolutely affirmed. So the Supreme Court has stepped in to change something 18 out of 1,800 times. So I think that's a pretty good percentage, and I think we're moving things along well. Because of the nature of our docket and how we get cases, we can decide cases faster than the Supreme Court is able to, because they have cases that we don't have to take, and we're doing that. We're turning it around and we're lowering their docket and enabling them to get the decisions faster. So I think we've done a good job of moving the cases around. I'd like to continue that work. Can't agree more about judicial philosophy. The role of the judge is to interpret the law as it exists. I don't get to enforce my opinion, but I think the law should be. That is not my job as a judge. That's the job of the legislators to create policy. And it's my role as a judge to interpret that faithfully and make sure it's within the bounds of the Constitution as it was intended when it's drafted. And that's very much what I want to do. I also have a number of endorsements endorsed by the Deputy Sheriff's Association, the Sheriff's Association, the Federation of Police, the Farm Bureau. Also, it's an interesting combination. I think I am endorsed by the business community, the chamber, the Business Industry Council, manufacturers, and I'm also endorsed by the trial lawyers, the Association of Justice. Those are two groups that are usually on opposite sides of things, and I think the fact that both groups have endorsed my candidacy demonstrate the fairness that I try to bring to the job. So again, it's been my pleasure to serve you in this role, and I'd like to do that for another 10 years. Again, Dan Greer, running for the MH70 Hills. Appreciate your time. On script.
Afternoon, everybody. I promise, Kate, you won't have to run me off here in 5 minutes. I'm Vince Jambaugh. I'm 57 years old. I'm currently your appointed magistrate. I'm a lifelong resident of Morgan County. My family's been here since about 1748. Public speaking's never gotten easy, and getting on your soapbox has never gotten easy for me anyway, but I'm gonna do the very best I can do. Just bear with me, please. I'm a graduate of Berkeley Springs High School. I'm a member of this very post here. I've been a member here since 1991. I've been an officer since 2006. I'm currently the vice commander here. Member of the VFW. I'm a trustee with them. Member of Berkeley Baptist Church. And I'm a member of the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association. Service, community, county, state, and nation has been my life. I spent my entire life in uniform. Starting with Cub Scouts, I worked my way to Eagle Scout here in Morgan County under Pac-12 and Troop 12. Joined the Marine Corps in December of 1988. I served 4 years active duty, went to school in Fort Knox as a tank crewman. I've got an knack for being in the right place at the right time. I was amongst the first to liberate Kuwait in 1991. My company commander's tank is in the Museum of Quantico. Got out of the Marine Corps in 92, joined the National Guard in 1993. I'm a combat veteran of Afghanistan and a provider of protection of American assets and VIPs abroad. I saw 70 countries in this capacity prior to my retirement as a Master Sergeant rank in 2009, correction. Makes me a very worldly hillbilly. It's been a blessing. I stand up here and talk to you folks, and it's truly been a blessing and a privilege, the life I've got to live. My military background led me into law enforcement. 1996, I was appointed chief of police of the great city of Paw Paw. Worked up there for 3 years, made it a 3-man department. Got the job down here as sheriff's deputy under Sheriff Bill Spitzer in 1999. Worked my way up through the ranks from 1999 to 2009, deputy, corporal, sergeant, the chief deputy. Ran for sheriff in 2009 under Sheriff McIntyre's direction, and the folks here were nice enough to elect me. I served in that capacity for 8 years. Retired in 2017 as your elected sheriff. Went on to retire as a sheriff's deputy in 2020. So my military and law enforcement background led to my appointment as magistrate. I was appointed by the Chief Circuit Judge, Judge Faircloth, in January of 2025. I've been blessed with this appointment for the last year and a half. We've expanded services by starting traffic court in January 2025 to minimize deputy court time and increase efficiency. The other magistrate and I, there's only two, me and Magistrate Miller, we maintain call-out status. For every law enforcement call, we average about 6 per week in order to complete arraignments for all arrests. We're also called out for CPS, Child Protective Services, emergency protective orders, family protection orders, and search warrants. So we get called out of bed a lot, but that's part of the job. It's something we have to do. I bring experience, hard work, and dedication and fairness to a job I truly feel blessed and honored to have, and I take pride in my service. I appreciate your votes and support. I pledge to work hard, be available, and be honest and fair. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Mike Sullivan. I probably hate public speaking more than Vince, but I sit amongst a lot of my English teachers beside me, so I better make them proud. Moved to Morgan County in 1991 after the passing of my father. I lived in Little Orleans, Maryland before I moved to West Virginia. Moved in with my grandparents until my mother bought a house in Great Cape, and then that's where I started my West Virginia schooling in the 3rd grade. Attended Berkeley Springs High School, graduated in 2004. Right out of high school in October of 2004, I started a 16-year, what I thought was going to be a career at the Eastern Regional Jail in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Unfortunately, due to an injury, I left the jail without a medical retirement and decided to fiddle around Berkeley Springs. I did some construction and I told myself I wanted to chase a dream early in life, and I wanted to be a magistrate. Didn't know a lot about it before I started at the jail. I served as an intake supervisor. I dealt with a lot of court paperwork and a lot of conversating with the magistrates and judges in Berkeley, Morgan, and Jefferson counties. So I got interested through doing that job to try to run for magistrate. So well, let's back up a little bit. I'm married for 20 years. I have 3 kids. who, two have graduated from Berkeley Springs High School already, and, one is in the eighth grade now. So in 2024, I put my name in the hat to run for master against, Casey Board. I came pretty close, not close enough, but, when Casey Board resigned, I was hoping to get my foot in the door, that way, but, fell short, my, childhood war hero, Vince Shambaugh. Uh, like Vince said, want to continue doing traffic court, have a day a month to where the deputies can schedule court versus having deputies work a 10-hour shift and then have to go to court and take it part of their sleep away from them. Just help them to be safe because they are the ones that serve in our communities, keeping our streets safe. And that's pretty much it. I appreciate your vote, May 12th. Thanks.
I'm jumping in front with Laura just for a second, just for a second. And I want to throw this out there. One of the questions that one of you guys submitted was for the school board candidates, and I thought I would just throw it to you now. So if you want to work in your answer as you speak. The question was, have you volunteered in the county schools, and if so, in what capacity? So I'll just let you all work that into your speech time. Quite tall enough. Oh, yes. Yeah, the other thing we wanted to mention too was on the ballots about the number of school board.
You called that?
So I will mention, the sample ballot that came out and hopefully will be corrected before they're in the newspaper.
Yes.
Is that, you vote for 2 school board members. It's actually 3. There are 3 seats up this coming election. So, make sure you ignore the 2. It's supposed to be corrected.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're gonna work really hard to get that done.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm Laura Smith. I'm running for school board. I moved to Boardman County in 1982. My husband and I came here and we bought a Christmas tree farm and began landscaping. I had a nursery. And we've raised 3 children here in Morgan County. They all graduated from Berkeley Springs High School. So while they were in school, I was president. I was on the school improvement councils, baked all kinds of cookies, attended football games, track meets. Then as my capacity as PTO president, I started attending school board meetings. So in 1999, I decided to, actually before that, I decided to run for the school board. I've been going to board meetings, saw a little bit about what it was all about. My first election, I did not make it, but in 1999, I was voted to be on the school board. I've always felt it was important to be part of the community. Eventually we closed our business. I worked for the community visitor center for 26 years. I worked at Terry's for 20 years. So I've always been part of the community. We always felt that when you live somewhere that you should be part of that community. I do want to thank all of the people that are running for the board. It's a wonderful slate. Sometimes we don't get that many, and I encourage all of them to continue working in the schools. I'm very proud of the Morgan County schools. I still participate and read aloud. I go to football games, all the sports activities I can do. I have 7 grandchildren in the system. So I've attended many concerts and plays and marching band, and it's all very important to the education of our children. This test scores have certainly improved since COVID. I hope we never live through another COVID. I think we handled it as best we could. So I would appreciate you letting me continue on the board. Thank you.
Good afternoon. For those of you who do not know me here, I know some out here and there's others I don't. My name is Pam Hessler and I'm running for the Morgan County School Board representing District 4. Now, a little bit about me, my background. I'm a graduate of Berkeley Springs High School. Went on, got my associate's degree in medical assisting. And while working full time, I went back to school in the evenings at the University of Maryland, majoring in business administration. I've spent 32 years in healthcare, and I currently work for WVU Medicine in Martinsburg for the last 22. I married a former Morgan County classmate. We've been married, it'll be 35 years this fall. We raised 3 children, all graduating with honors from Berkeley Springs High School. And then they went on and graduated college, 3 different West Virginia universities. And the 2 youngest ones are teachers, 1 elementary, 1 secondary. We've also have 5 grandchildren, 6th one on the way in October, but the 3 youngest ones right now reside in Morgan County, and the oldest one is in 2nd grade at Widmeyer. Now, a little more about me volunteering. For the past probably 3 decades, I've been volunteering in different organizations here in Morgan County. Some of my past experiences have been a 4-H leader for 31 years. I was a youth girls softball coach for 13 years. Youth Sunday school teacher for 10 years. And then also I, for the last 12 years, have judged the County Social Studies Council. I've been on that for 7 years. I go into the schools every year as part of the ag part, and I'll get to that in a second, where I go in every year around National Ag Day and read the Ag Book of the Year. And then we do a little hands-on experiment with the kids. And this past March, I was at Pleasant View doing that with K all the way through 5. Other things I'm currently involved in and have been for over 30 years with both the Morgan County and West Virginia Farm Bureau. And I'm happy to say I serve on both their boards, and also serve as the state women's leadership chair for the last 14 years. So everybody wants to know, why are you running for the school board? Our schools are the heart, especially when we're in a rural community. Our schools are the heart of the community. Our students deserve to learn, grow, and succeed in an environment that's safe, supportive, and innovative. I'm strongly committed to strengthening Morgan County schools, and you'll hear in a little bit from Superintendent Banks how well our schools actually are doing. But I want to help to strengthen them now and into the future through open communication, community-focused leadership, fiscal responsibility, by aligning spending to student needs, using data to guide decision-making, and prioritizing investments that have a direct positive impact on classroom learning and student well-being. So one of the most serious, some of you may know this or not, but one of the most serious challenges facing county school systems in West Virginia is declining enrollment and the resulting loss of state funding. Because the state school aid formula is heavily enrollment-based, districts lose significant funding. Even though when the student numbers drop, we still have fixed cost like transportation, staffing, utilities, building maintenance. Those remain the same or continue to climb. So this funding challenge makes it difficult to recruit and retain quality certified teachers, particularly in districts like ours, where educators can drive a short distance across to the neighboring states and receive significantly higher salaries. I'd like to conclude by one thing by stating as I said earlier, I'm a past 4-H leader. And over those years with my kids, and I call them my kids, 30 seconds, I stressed the 4 H's, head, heart, hands, and health. And to the slogan and motto is learn by doing to make the best better. If given the opportunity, I want to make the best better in Morgan County for education for your kids and all our grandkids. I would be honored to earn your support on May 12th for Morgan County Board of Education. Thank you.
Right, I apologize, because you're probably gonna hear just about the same thing from all 7 of us running for the school board. I'm gonna start at the beginning. My name is Justin Lynn. And I'm sorry, I can't see you out there because I have to read these, use these to read. I was born to 2 locals here in Berkeley Springs and met in high school at BSHS. I've lived here in Morgan County for 46 years. I also attended and graduated from Morgan County schools. Then attended Shepherd University, which was college back in those days, and James Rumsey Technical Institute, graduating with a degree in electronics technology. I was then blessed to land a job with the railroad at CSX Transportation in my degree field, so that's a great thing, where I've worked for 26 years. My wife, Amy, also a graduate of Morgan County Schools. She also attended Shepherd University and then graduated with a degree early childhood education. Currently a pre-K teacher here in our schools, Morgan County. We married in 2007, have 2 children, both enrolled in our schools here. One, Landon, is a senior, graduating in like 30 days, something like that, 32 days. And Kara, she's a freshman in 9th grade. So, both my kids are very active in their schools. I told them years ago when they got into middle school, I'm like, I don't care what you do, but you're doing something for your school. Anything you want, band, chess, checkers, underwater basket weaving, whatever, but you're doing something. And I haven't had to fight with them. They are both heavily involved. Band, theater, and of course, parents, we are very involved with that as well. My wife and I are very active. We volunteer at tons of school events, and work to give back to our community as best as we can. Your question there of what do we do? Oh, I've read to the kids. I know Laura's read to the students at Whitmire before. I get roped into doing all kinds of events. I DJ and have bounce houses. So of course they always love to have me around. Like I said, you're gonna hear quite the same from each candidate, I believe. The biggest one, student academic success, continuing to support the comprehensive initiatives focusing on early education. I know there's a flyer here for Ronnie, and you read on that, and Pam. All of us have the same thing in mind here. As Pam mentioned, declining enrollment, and that definitely corresponds with our state funding. And exactly what she said, the current formula doesn't account for the high fixed costs, such as building maintenance and buses, and the rising costs of special education, where we really don't get any funds to help with that yet. Student behavior, disruptive behavior continues to increase, causing our teachers to spend more time managing that classroom behavior than actually being able to teach. And that is a huge problem. We still need help with that. And one final thing real quick, the certified staffing shortages. This crisis, just as Pam said, I said 4 years ago from this same spot, they can go across the bridge or drive 30 minutes in any direction and get paid more money. And actually, you could probably go to Amazon and make close to the same, if not more, and have less responsibility. It's almost a dying field, and I feel for anyone coming out of college right now. We need to be certified teachers. And I wrote a little show and tell. George, you need to change this for us. We need your help. This is the school law book that our school board has to go through. It's over 1,500 pages, just if you were wondering. So when you're asking, why are we doing that? Or why did we do that? Right here is the reasons we're doing it. It's in this book. Just thought I would share. A lot of people have never seen it. And I'm not against the school choice per se, but I would rather it be a level playing field. We're allowing our kids to go to other schools, then they don't have to abide by any of this. So let's level this playing field. Just my thought. Thank you.
Good afternoon. And I want to know, public speaking is not my forte, so please bear with me.
We're all with you.
My name is Alice Lance. I wasn't born or raised here. My ancestors are from here. I was born and raised in Illinois, joined the military, met my ex-husband. He moved me out here, which I'm glad he did because we had 5 children and they all went to school in Morgan County. 4 of them graduated from here. 1 of them decided she wanted to graduate in Illinois. They've all been successful. They all had their roots here and they all still live here. Well, one of them's moving to Texas. Good job. But my reason for running is because I want to make Morgan County schools the schools that parents want their children to attend, not the schools they want to avoid by homeschooling or sending them elsewhere. And I found out the other day that you can send your child to any county you want. They can live in Morgan County and send their children to Berkeley County schools. So we want Morgan County to be what I consider a premier school where everybody, their kids and the education that they want for their kids. And they need a good education for a good start in life. They need the right classes. They need, as they get older, family living, shop, home ec, personal finance. That's a big one that they're not getting. I went to work, I retired, but I went to work at the grocery store during COVID. I worked with teenagers who couldn't count change and couldn't read my notes because they were written in cursive. So that was a problem, but they were all eager to learn. That was a good thing that I wanted to see. They were eager to learn their jobs. They were eager to lead. I could tell which ones were going to be leaders. So that was a neat kind of thing to do. They also need a pencil, paper, and a physical textbook, not a Chromebook. I have talked to many parents, many teachers. They're not a fan of the Chromebooks. And it's the opinion that it's dumbing down our kids. So put a pencil back in their hand, put some paper back on, and give them a textbook and let them read. And I'm the regent for the local Daughters of the American Revolution. So we have essay contests. This year we had to put those essays through an AI program to make sure that part or all of them were not AI, and some of them were. I consider AI internet plagiarism because the kids are not writing their own words. They're taking them off the internet and they're putting them on paper and they're not learning anything. So we need to focus on pulling those Chromebooks back and limiting the AI in the classroom. Our scores for a long time were 54 out of 55 in the state. We're now at 33, 4 points above Berkeley County. And that's from an online company called School Digger, and they garner their information from the U.S. Department of Education and the state DOE. So that is a good thing to know. And that is because of the administrators and the teachers here who are really pushing to help our kids do better. But there's still a report that says our students are taking remedial classes when they get to college and having a hard time passing an ASVAB test to join the military. So we still have a lot of work to do. Finally, the biggest problem, or one of the biggest problems I've seen in the county, is chronic absenteeism. And that problem falls directly on the child's family. If the parents or the family members are not getting them up and getting them to school, they're not learning. And that's not helping kids at all. If they're sick, if they have like a game or something like that, they leave early or they don't come to school, but it has to be excused. It has to be not just, oh, I was up late at night on my phone, you know, and so was my son and he didn't fall asleep till 4 o'clock. So the changes need to be immediate, but our kids won't benefit if they're not. I'm Alice Lance and I'm running for the Board of Education. Thanks for bearing with me.
friends. I wanted to start by just saying thank you to Legion for hosting us and to Kate for putting this together. I'd also like to thank all of you because you clearly want to be informed voters, but nothing could be better than that, right? My name is Lori Diefenbach. I live here in Berkeley Springs, outside near the Sleepy Creek Mountain. I have been there for 6 years, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I think public education is important, why I think you should vote for me for the school board, and what you can expect if I. So, you all know this, but public education is, as many of my co-candidates have said, very key to building community here. You all know this already. You can see the pride with which people say that they attended Berkeley Springs schools and Morgan County schools. My husband and I both went to the same high school in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and if we hadn't done that, we never would have gotten together, as it turns out. So it's a good community and shared experience that we all would like to have. In addition to that wonderful community building opportunity, free and fair education makes it possible for us to support our representative democracy by building citizenship skills, right? Because people understand how our government works and why it's important to be an active part of that. So that's a very important thing that public education does for us, and our founding fathers were very convinced that it was an important thing to do. Finally, just a little personal thing. Someday I'm going to be needing some help with my personal care. And I really hope that the people that are distributing my medicines can read the labels and can count and read time. So I'm kind of hoping that our public school will continue to make sure our students, our community members can do that. So why should you vote for me? Well, I've spent the last 20 years serving my church in just about every capacity there is, except pastor, because I'm not ordained. But since then, I have joined the foundation board here at the Blue Ridge Community and Technical College, as my husband is now teaching there in his spare time. I have not personally served in the armed forces, however, my family has been serving in every war since the American Revolution, including Afghanistan. So we've pretty much been doing that all along. In addition to my community service, I have spent the last 31 years working for a global industrial software company. So our company customers are in the mining business, in the power generation business, in the chemical business, in the pharmaceutical business, in the manufacturing business, in the oil and gas industry. So I know a little bit about how industry works. I know a little bit about how software is used there. I also know a little bit about how artificial intelligence is being used in industry today. So I bring that experience with me to this kind of role. Also, I happen to have a PhD in educational communication and technology. So I know a little, I've done my own research and I have the paper to prove it. And while I was doing that, I served with the New York City Board of Education. So you might know that New York City is the largest public school system in the country. So that's my qualifications. If I were to be elected, you could expect that I would put student success first, that I would support teachers because that's what makes students successful. And my research shows that to be the case. And you can also expect responsible leadership from me, as well as respect for how taxpayer money is being spent. I have not directly volunteered with public schools here in Berkeley Springs. I am still working full time. To wrap up, however, I want you to know that I care about this community. I care a lot about public education. I have relevant background and experience, and I believe that schools build community and prepare citizens. Thank you very much. I have your vote.
A whole lot bigger up here. Hi, my name is Ronnie Stotler, and I'm running for Board of Education as well as the other seven. Um, Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Winchester, Virginia. I loved that place. It was very beautiful. Um, and then we started vacationing up here in Berkeley Springs for Apple Butter Festival. And I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember Apple Butter Festival being so big, it almost looked like New York. You couldn't walk through anywhere. Uh, and I loved it. I loved getting the apple butter. I loved putting it on some toast. I loved putting it on really anything. Um, I cherish those memories. I loved it. So a little bit, fast forward a little bit more, my parents got kicked out of where we were living and we moved to Inwood, West Virginia. We stopped coming to Berkeley Springs. It was sad. I did cry a little bit because I wanted to see on Route 9 that little fisherman boy. I don't know if you guys know where that's at, but I always said, is that little boy just still fishing every single day? And my mom was like, that's a doll, that's a stray doll. I think you need to get your eyes checked. So moving on from there, we lived in Inwood for a while. I became an official West Virginia resident at the age of, I believe, around 10. Um, so from there, we went to, well, actually, my mom lost us. Not to get too into the weeds on this, but my parents lost us due to some circumstances, and we were moved to Martinsburg. Um, we stayed there with some foster parents, and we stayed there for about a year. And then they went on vacation. They left us in Berkeley Springs. And this wonderful woman named Kathleen Stotler, I love her to death, and David Stotler, they are my adopted parents now. After the CPS took us over to Huntington, West Virginia, they they wound up adopting us. I have a beautiful wife as well. I totally forgot to mention her. I don't know. She's gonna beat me for that one. I also have a daughter. Uh, she is 13. We've been together for about 14 years. We've been together 14 years. I'm getting this right. I promise. I promise. If you guys don't see me, you know where I'm at. But so to get back to the story, I am a product of David Banks. He was my superintendent all those years. I graduated in 2013, came here in 2006. Um, I love this school. This was the best school. It allowed me to graduate because I was failing hard in all the other schools, extremely hard. I had wonderful teachers, beautiful teachers. They did a lot for me. And they don't know how much I appreciate that. Another thing also, just to speed up this story, is the school system is at a very big critical point. It's probably one of the biggest, in my opinion, one of the biggest votes that you guys will cast this year, because depending on who you cast is depending on how our school systems are going to run for the next 4 years. Especially when it comes to the levy. The levy is probably one of the most important things. Like Dave will tell you, we're not raising your taxes. We're just keeping everything the same. Is that correct, Dave? Yeah. So we're just keeping everything the same. Um, just like Justin said, teachers are leaving, and it's not good. It's hard to find teachers. It's hard to retain teachers. Um, I know I, I wouldn't want my daughter to not have the teachers that I went with that taught me, and a lot of them are gone now. There are some left, but if you don't vote for me, which is okay, I understand. At least vote yes for the levy, but also vote for me too. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is John Kanofsky and I'm running for school board. Just like Lionel just said, I graduated 3 years from high school. Graduated as in retired, so I'm here as a retired person who just recently moved to Berkeley Springs. Last time I spoke publicly was 4 years ago, when I was a teacher in Los Angeles. And I would always get students' attention by saying, clap once if you can hear me, clap twice if you can't. And of course, kids would wind up clapping both times. And often when I asked them to clap, they would raise their hands and say, Mr. Kanofsky, can I go to the bathroom? So if anybody here needs to go to the bathroom, don't worry, you don't need to raise your hand. I'd like to thank my neighbors for coming. I know some of them here. I'd like to thank the Morgan Messenger. This is my first time running for office, anything. I bought a house here 5 years ago during COVID. So I've only been here for a few years as a retiree. I'd like to ask you all a question. Unlike other candidates, I was a teacher, but I've had some firsthand experience working in classrooms. I'd like to ask you all one question you can think about as you are sitting there listening to me is how would you improve public education if you had the opportunity? What would be some of the things that you've heard everybody speak? And you have probably a pretty good idea, which I do, and I'll let you know at the end of my speech. I was a teacher for 24 years in Los Angeles. And I taught art, visual art, AP art history, programming. If anybody knows anything about Visual Basic, that'll date me because that was the last time I saw programming, was about 20 years ago. I was a union rep for 10 years, teachers union rep at the school district I worked at. And I was also on the bargaining committee. So I sat across from board of directors and board of education members bargaining for teachers. Now, if I'm to be elected, I would be on the other side of the table on that. We used to come here to Berkeley Springs. Why did I end up in Berkeley Springs? Well, about 25 years ago, my parents would rent a house, one of the gigantic houses at Cool Font. And we wound up having a family reunion every year, Thanksgiving. And so from Cool Font, we came to Berkeley Springs, and we've been here since. We were here at the Lot 12. You guys know Lot 12? It's a restaurant. We came to the opening of that about 25 years ago. We moved also here because it's closer to Europe, and my wife is Swiss. Some of you may know her. She's her father's getting older, so we often travel to Europe a lot. So that's one of the reasons. Those are some of the reasons why we're here. Why am I running for Board of Education? Well, I'm retired. I wanted to get involved in this community, and as a retiree, there's lots of things you could do to have fun here in this town. It's a really great town. But is there a lot of things in which you get involved in to help the community? And so I'm trying to find things to get involved in and volunteer at this community. I was on a board of directors probably about 20 years ago on a school that's no longer around. And so I have a really strong idea of how boards work, how the process of hiring teachers, process of dealing with budgets. So I have a strong sense of those things, which I think is necessary, one of the necessary skill sets for being on a board of education. I have volunteered in the past. I have not volunteered here at this community yet. I haven't been here a few years. But I wanted to actually say that I'm going to volunteer, and also I was a grant writer. So I have some strong sense of grant writing that I can actually do as a board member.
30 seconds left.
We skip over. Okay. Let me return to that question of how to improve schools. And one way to improve schools is to retain qualified teachers, like you've all heard. I think that's my stump speech would be to retain qualified teachers. And that would be a goal of mine as a board member.
That's it.
Oh,
That's a good.
JK for school board at gmail.com. JK is okay.
We don't have any questions to throw your way, so you freeze up.
I am used to talking about the school system for longer periods of time. And so I've taken what I've been talking about and shrinking it to 5 minutes. I'm gonna talk fast because I am really excited to be the superintendent of Morgan County Schools. My name is Dave Banks. I'm a graduate of Berkeley Springs High School. And I believe that all those folks that gave me what I needed to graduate, it's our job to give back to our students in Berkeley Springs and Morgan County right now as well. There are great things going on in Morgan County. We have the best kids, by the way. I don't know if you know that. If you ever go down to James Rumsey and you ask them down there, how can you tell who the students are from Morgan County? Those are the students that are holding the doors for people. Those are the students who are saying thank you to their teachers. We have the best kids. We have the absolute best kids. And I hope we never, ever take that for granted. Our mission, our motto is why not Morgan County? Why can't we be the best? Why does it have to be Montague County or Kanawha County or Jefferson County? Why can't we be the best? We have challenges, many challenges. But our philosophy is that if we have a challenge, let's roll up our sleeves and figure out a way to get it done. The school district is held accountable in 3 areas. First of all is student achievement. Last year in West Virginia, out of 55 counties, Morgan County was ranked 23rd out of 55. This year, we're ranked 10th out of 55 counties. The second thing we have accountable for is graduation rate. The state likes to see a 94 to 95% graduation rate. Berkeley Springs High School has a 99% graduation rate. Alcohol has a 100% graduation rate. I know you're thinking how hard is it to graduate 12 students from Alcohol. I know I can see it, but one student, if it's 11 instead of 12, that percentage goes way down and very quickly. The last one has been spoken about, chronic absenteeism, something we're held accountable for. And in this case, the lower the better. Last year, we had 26% of our students who were chronically absent. This year, it's 18%. And we have made a lot of growth there and we're very proud of it. It takes a lot of work to do that. And we just went through an incredible flu season and we still stayed at 18. So we're very proud of that. So those are the 3 things we're held accountable for. We've seen significant growth across all 3 areas. And that doesn't even begin to include the great success we've had with science fair at the state level, social studies fair at the state level. We're just beating all the counties around us in every competition. We have the Berkeley Springs High School state champion chess team that just went to Chicago. And then we also, just this week, were awarded a national award as a national showcase district for capturing kids' hearts. Now, what do? We focus on, wow, time is going fast. We focus on a few things and do them really well. We still have a lot of work to do to keep ourselves moving in the right direction. We focus on a lot of opportunities for kids. The state's funding formula funds a very basic program. And anything you want to do that's outside of that, you have to contribute local funds. Some examples: alternative ed, agricultural ed, summer school, tutoring, even paying the salary of a treasurer, all have to be taken on by the local school system because it's not part of the state's funding formula. That's just the instructional part. Maintaining our facilities, school safety are also part of what the levy pays for. We have older buildings that need roof repairs, and at this point, we have 3 roofs that are currently being repaired, all of which we have received grant money from the state to fund. Lastly, the levy pays for salary supplements and benefits for staff. Teaching is a really hard job. It's harder than it's ever been, especially in 2026. Not only do we have to keep the good people we have, but we also have to provide them a very good environment to work in. And with the best kids anywhere and a safe and productive environment where they feel like they're part of a family, that always helps. I want to talk very quickly about the behaviors that we mentioned. The behaviors are very challenging, and we've hired through an opioid grant somebody just to deal with behaviors in pre-K and kindergarten. I wish, in closing, I wish the funding formula in West Virginia would adequately fund education the way our neighboring states do.
Yeah.
We have no levies in place for citizens to vote on. They fund education the way it should be. 18% of our total budget is from the levy. And we're asking voters to renew the current levy, which was rolled back from 100% to 70% in 2014. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My gosh, you guys take a break. Whew. So that's the non-partisan section of it. Does everybody needs to go to that? We were heading into the party primary half of the program. I had a request because of travel that Tom Willis is going to head this up. We're gonna start us off on the party primary half, and then we're gonna jump in there. We got some candidates crisscrossing the whole state, and we're trying to accommodate them if they can, so. We'll get you out of here.
Good afternoon. It's great to be back in Morgan County. I'm State Senator Tom Willis. I'm running for U.S. Senate against Shelley Moore Capito because I believe it's time for a change. Let me just say real quick, I think it's wonderful to come down here and see this thriving Legion post. I'd like to thank the Legion for hosting us. I've been around the state and really the country. There's a lot of, Legions and VFWs that are closing down and dying off. And so it's a joy to come here and see a thriving post. And I'm a member in Martinsburg. I live in Hedgesville up the road, and we just got a new building with our post 14 too. So encourage young people to join. Veterans organizations they're a great way to be a part of the community and volunteer. And I also want to thank Kate for hosting and putting all this together. It's a lot of work to organize an event like this. So thank you very much. I think I know most people here, but I'll tell you just a little bit about me, and then I'll tell you about some of my politics and positions. So I've been serving West Virginia for 26 years in the West Virginia National Guard. I'm a Special Forces Green Beret. That's my specialty. And I've served all over West Virginia with muddy boots on flood duties all across our state. And I've served all over the world on different missions from counterterrorism, counter ISIS, counter narcotics. And I learned to speak French, Spanish, and Russian along the way. And I think somebody mentioned Eagle Scout. I'm also an Eagle Scout as well. So I tell a joke when I told my Special Forces Green Beret brothers that I was going to go into politics. They pulled me aside and they said, "Politics, Tom, why would you want to do something so dangerous?" There's some truth to that. I'm also an unapologetic Bible-believing Christian family man. Like I said, Sarah and I raise our kids right up the road in Hedgesville, and we go to Independent Bible Church, where we've been going for well over a decade now. And we love our community. I love being your state senator. We love our schools. We love our church, and just happy to be a part of this part of the Eastern Panhandle. I'm also a West Virginia business owner by God's grace. We've built a couple of successful businesses. So I'm a real estate general contractor and have a real estate company. And I'm also a licensed attorney and own a law firm with a couple of offices. And so why is that important to you? Well, I know how to balance a budget. And I think you would agree with me on the federal level, that's a major crisis for us right now. I also know how to create jobs because by God's grace, I've done it many times before. Like I said, I'm your state senator. Ironically, I'm in Charlie Trump's old position as chairman of the Judiciary Committee. I could never fill his big shoes, but it's great, I think, for the Eastern Panhandle that we have another one of our own in that powerful position as a Judiciary Chairman in the State Senate. So folks ask me, Tom, what's harder, politics or Special Forces Green Beret? And I will tell them that you get ambushed from the rear a lot more in politics than ever in special operations. So normally I educate people because I think my opponent, Shelley's been flying under the radar on a lot of her votes. And normally I would educate you on her bad votes on abortion and guns, but Kate told me I'd be on double secret probation if I did that, so. I'm gonna just divert real quick and tell you a couple things that we accomplished at the state level, and then I'll go back to the federal level. So one of my bills to protect seniors from banking fraud, to help banks protect seniors from fraud, that passed. That was a big accomplishment. I sponsored a bill also to protect our churches from demonstrations inside a church. Like you saw what happened in Minneapolis when they went in and they occupied that church and started protesting. That's now a criminal offense in West Virginia with steep fines to protect our religious services. Um, I was very disappointed that we didn't get locality pay pass. We fought for it in the Senate, and for the first time ever, to my knowledge, we got a unanimous vote in the Senate to get locality pay passed. And I fought and bled for that. You can go look at my speech on the Senate floor, legislature, wvlegislature.gov. And I gave an impassioned plea, and we got a 34-0 vote in the Senate. We still were a few votes short in the House, and that's something we've got to still work on with our colleagues in the House to get locality pay passed. But please know that I did fight and bleed for it this year, and we got the best vote ever in the Senate. At the federal level, what can you expect from Tom Willis? Well, you can expect for me to defend life, to defend our Second Amendment gun rights, to defend our religious freedoms,
30 seconds.
to fight for a secure border, and to fight for infrastructure and to reduce the cost of living across the board for all West Virginians. I do believe we got the best people in the world. We can do better. We've got to roll up our sleeves and work hard together, and we've got to fight our battles on our knees in faith. And around here, we know that it takes both of those things. Last race, I beat the lieutenant governor. We shocked the nation this race. I'm going to beat our incumbent U.S. Senator. So I'm asking for your vote for me, Tom Willis, on May 12th. Thank you very much. It's an honor to speak.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Commander Stephen Wendland, the United States Navy, retired. Again, we thank them, but we can't thank them enough. Thank you to Kate and the Board of Messenger. Thank you to the American Legion for hosting this event. The one thing I really want to thank is you. Look at this room. Thank you for upholding your civic duty to become educated voters. All right, this is huge. So let me ask you a question. Regardless of your politics, who here is happy with the direction that our country is headed right now? All right, did any of you vote for this? What's going on right now? I don't care what your party affiliation is. I know this is not what we want. We can do better as a nation, and we can do a whole lot better as a state. Frankly, the super majorities down in Charleston and in Washington, D.C., they're making us sicker, they're making us poor, they're eroding our freedoms. And if you don't believe me, just, if that is contrary to what you think, maybe look at a different news source. Okay. So who am I? What am I about? Again, I served 39 years in uniform. When I took that uniform off, I did not surrender my oath of office to support and defend the Constitution against the United States, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Our nation is under attack. Our Constitution is under attack. Our freedoms and our rights are under attack. What's on the ballot in November is freedom and democracy. You all need to think about that. Sorry to lecture you all because I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to tell you how important this is. I am in a contested primary, so I need to get to the November ballot. So I hope to get all your support. I also want to put out a quick little little plug. There we go. No, not little plug. Public service announcement. The state Republican Party down in Charleston has closed their primary to independents and non-affiliated voters. Now, a lot of people think that means that independents and non-affiliated can't vote in the primary. They absolutely can. If you don't ask for a Democratic ballot, they'll hand you a nonpartisan ballot. But not only can you vote in the Democratic primary, you are welcomed to vote the Democratic primary because we expect everyone to be able to have their voices heard. So regardless of who you vote for on that Democratic ballot, please, if you're an independent, non-affiliated, please ask for that Democratic ballot.
finally, a little bit more about me and my policies. Everything is available on my website. It's very transparent. My platform is there. Do I believe in the Second Amendment? Yeah, I believe in all the amendments. I believe in the Constitution as written. I believe in the rule of law. I believe in our Constitution. Right now, our Congress has abdicated its Article 1 responsibilities. And the administration is doing a good job. All right, checks and balances are for a reason. All right, our founding fathers, separation of church and state for a reason. Now, I know we're not supposed to bring up our points or anything else.
Yeah.
The gentleman I ran against in 2024, he didn't beat me. I lost a voter apathy. But I'll tell you, 2024 is not 2026. I'm seeing more people engaged, more people out there and wanting to take back our country. We are good people and we deserve better than this. Our heritage, our children deserve better than this. Right now, we are at $39 trillion and counting in national debt. The big, beautiful bill, all right, adds another $4 trillion to that. Who's gonna have to pay for that? All right? So what right now, how we're solving is they're spending more money. That means more inflation and it goes up and out. They're squeezing us. We need to stop. By the way, this isn't left versus right. This isn't Democrat versus Republican. This is about the oligarchy. This is about the wealthy with their boot on our necks. And we need to take it back. So with that, I'm Stephen Wendland. I'm running as a Democrat in the primary on May 12th. Please get me to face off against Riley Moore, who's running unopposed. By the way, he could have been here too. So with that, thank you all and God bless you.
Hey, y'all, I'm Ace Parsi, Democrat running for US Congress. I have my photographer over there. She also takes sign-up sheets, so she has a goal of reaching 10 different people on our sign-up sheet today. And in this election, Republicans count twice. So please go sign up with her at the end of the event. And she is why I'm running. When I was just a little bit younger than her, I immigrated to the US from Iran. And you want to find a more patriotic American? Talk about an immigrant that came from an authoritarian regime. Know how precious that is. You know what? I know what it's like when people are inherently good and their government is not. I know what it's like when people desperately want to have a voice in the decisions that affect them and they do not have it. And I know what it's like when government is the greatest source of injustice in people's lives. I am running because I do not want that for her future. I'm running for that reason. And you know what? I'll just say, I run on three that you can find I have a whole long platform on our website, aceforcongress.com, but I'm going to talk about these three big buckets that animate me: affordability, care, and empowerment. On an affordability level, you know, my opponent in the general election will say that he's only lived in West Virginia for 10 years. I am more West Virginian than my opponent will ever be. You know, when I was a kid, my mom supported our family with the babysitting jobs that she had, and my older brother worked at a grocery store. I still remember being at places like this, and he didn't get picked up, and I would call, pick up the payphone, and call 1-800-COLLECT and say, "Come pick me up." I remember going to lines in toy stores and looking at the fire truck and saying, like, "I look desperate enough, somebody will buy it for me." So I know what it's like when what parents and grandparents are facing right now. Let's be really clear. This Iran war right now, which again, I am no fan of the Iranian regime. That's why I came here. Costs us $1 billion each day. West Virginia's Medicaid assessment is $4 billion. To get clean and safe drinking water in West Virginia costs $250 million. You could have cleaned West Virginia's water 4 times over in a day. But we are a war that nobody chose. It's the Congress's authority, and our members of Congress vacated that authority. So that's what affordability means. Care. You know what? We do not need another investment banker. We do not need another tech bro in this country. What we need is more social workers, we need more teachers, and we need more nurses. I have every right to say, like, I'm one of those people that pulled myself up by the bootstraps, but I did not. Nobody pulls themselves up by the bootstraps. What I had English language learner teachers. I had nurses that helped on my medical issues, social workers. We get up in this country together. Getting up, lifting yourself up is a community effort, not just an individual effort. Sure, we work hard, but that is the community effort. So I believe in a care stimulus in areas where we have reduced numbers of nurses, social workers, educators. We need to cover those people's tuition. We need to respect them as professionals. We need to raise their salaries so that they can come here and stay here. And then empowerment. You know what? Like I talk, like democracy is the thing that animates my every single belief. I think as a person of faith, as a Christian, I uh, I think that democracy is the only form of government that treats every single human being as if they have equal worth. We cannot lose this precious gift, and we are losing it in all different places. We're losing it because unions cannot, we weaken unions that they can't engage in collective bargaining. We're losing it because Patrick Morrissey and Mark Zuckerberg can say that they're gonna put a data center in their back. They don't have to get your permission to get a data center in their backyard. They're saying no, but they're gonna put a data center in your backyard and you don't have community law on that. So I believe in that empowerment that nobody puts anything in your property without the community referendum to do it. So affordability, care, and empowerment. Now, I'll just say to close that, yeah, Brian Lee Moore could have been here. I don't agree with everything with Tom, but I'm so glad that he showed up. That's half of democracy is leaders who show up because you cannot listen. You cannot represent if you do not show up. So I believe in town halls. I don't care if you vote for me or not. I will listen to you. I will represent you because that is what democracy is, and that's the precious gift that I look to fight for. I believe in Dr. King's sentiment that the arc of the universe is long but bends toward justice. But we in this room work across the aisles to bend that arc towards justice. Thank you so much for giving me the time, and God bless you.
All right, we're still on track. So our next folks, Elizabeth, are you ready?
I am.
Okay, we had some questions that we took from folks, the voters. And I thought I'd throw them out there in case you guys want to talk about these as you're hitting your speeches. These were for state offices. And so one of the questions was, what would you do in your position to improve funding for public schools? Right, so this is not the first time we've heard that today. And then the other one was, what is your position on HOPE scholarships, vouchers to non-public schools? So if you want to touch on those things during your speech time, that covers some questions from voters out there.
Great, thanks so much, Kate.
So public school funding was already in my speech. Specifically, Hope Scholarship wasn't, but if you're the one who asked that question, please come see me. I would love to talk to you about it. So my name is Elizabeth Ferris, and I'm running for West Virginia State Senate in District 15, which includes all of Morgan County, all of Hampshire County, and about half of Berkeley County. I never thought I would run for public office. In my everyday life, I am a novelist and a writing teacher. I'm also a devoted congregant at my church, where I serve as the co-chair of 2 committees, including our Watts Committee, which helps provide homeless residents a safe and warm bed from November to March. You'll also find me at the Ice House downtown, where I work as a gallery docent and volunteer with our concerts and our fundraisers. My mom moved to Morgan County when I was 9 years old, and I grew up splitting my time between Berkeley Springs and Howard County, Maryland, where my dad worked as a large animal vet. My first writing byline actually came in 2006 through a summer internship at the Morgan Messenger. I got to write an article about a concert at Kickapoo State Park for the Humane Society. So I have a rule I try to follow in the classroom, which is that a good teacher listens more than they talk. And I think the same thing should be true of our elected officials. I'm running for office because I believe that public service should be about listening to your neighbors to find solutions for our shared problems. So I had a bit about our public school funding crisis, but our folks running for board and our wonderful superintendent have covered that. So what I want to say instead is that that's our responsibility as state legislatures to prioritize funding our public schools. Last year, in 2025, our state legislature paid $114,000 of taxpayer money for a study to address the school funding crisis. And that study recommended 5 concrete actions that our legislature could take. This year in 2026, they passed laws on 0 of them. 0 of those were passed. And there was bipartisan support for a lot of them, to be clear. 2 weeks ago, I met with a small group of residents across the county line in Beddington who are facing a beautiful piece of farmland becoming a 1.9 billion square foot AI data center. They have no information about the data center's water usage plans, its pollution impact, or even who will occupy the building because House Bill 2014, passed by the legislature in 2025, made it so data centers don't have to work with local governments to choose and permit land. West Virginia is the only state in the entire country with a law like this. I want you to know that I take listening and being part of solutions seriously. Since the beginning of this campaign, I've been from one end of District 15 to the other, meeting with city and council officials, small business owners, and regular people to hear about what they need. One of the most revealing meetings I had was with John Deskins, the director of the Bureau of Business and Economic Research at WVU. The meeting was revealing not just for the information that John provided me, which was wonderful, but because he told me I was the first candidate or elected representative who's reached out to him for advice. One of our state's leading experts on growing our economy doesn't hear from our elected officials. I've seen what good happens when West Virginians work together. And I think we have a lot to be proud of here in Morgan County. Right here in Berkeley Springs, we brought in more than $1 billion in revenue in our tiny town for the first time last year. It's the first time we've done that. I want to see us build on the good while meeting our challenges with honesty and a commitment to hard work. I believe we can continue to improve the opportunities and outcomes for our students. I believe we can find the wisdom to stop passing harmful laws like House Bill 2014. And I believe we can build on the good already happening in the small towns like Berkeley Springs by supporting local businesses and keeping more resources close to home. I wouldn't be running for office if I didn't believe those things were possible. West Virginians are good at solving problems. My name is Elizabeth Ferris, and I would be honored if you would come talk to me afterwards about how we can solve our problems together. Thank you.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay? So I want to thank the Board Messenger and Legion for having us, inviting me to this event. And my name is Ken Reed. I'm a local here. I own a business right down the road. First and foremost, I would like to make sure everyone got their 3 mailers about me today. If everybody's good, I wouldn't want anybody missed out. My employees think these things are hilarious, and they started taping them to the wall at the pharmacy. I am running for the West Virginia State Senate, District 15, which encompasses all Morgan, all of Hampshire, and probably 3/4 of Berkeley County. So a little bit about my past. I received a Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy in 1992 and moved here soon after. I followed a girl from Hedgesville. I soon ended up marrying her, and not long after that was blessed with 4 children. I'm not sure how that happened, but it did indeed happen. I've noticed a lot of coaches, teachers, and administrators from this high school here. And I suspect that you lose track of the kids of where they go afterwards. All 4 of my kids went to school here. One of them is now a PhD. One of them has a pharmacy doctorate. One has a Bachelor of Science, and one has a master's degree. And I want to thank you sincerely for helping them along that journey. It certainly wasn't me. My wife did a lot of it and I just kind of cheered from the outside. I'm a former Morgan County Commissioner, a former West Virginia State Delegate for Berkeley County and Morgan County. I used to represent the 59th District, which runs all the way from Following Motors, Hedgesville, into Morgan County. I'm a past president of the West Virginia Pharmacy Association. I'm a past board member of the Eastern West Virginia Airport Authority. I'm a past member of the Workforce West Virginia. I'm a past board member from the Morgan County Economic Development Authority. I'm a past board member from the Morgan County Planning Commission and a past executive committee member for Region 9, which is economic development. And along the way, I've built a few businesses here and there. I am deeply rooted in Morgan and Berkeley County. I have invested 34 years of my life pouring blood, sweat, and tears into the Eastern Panhandle. I have built businesses all throughout this district and employed close to 80 people in our communities. Your problems are my problems. In regards to the data center and HB 2014, I am deeply concerned about the government's increasing tendency to bypass local control and erode transparency. This has resulted in a lack of accountability at a local level and a complete disregard for the needs and desires of local communities. If elected, I will sponsor legislation to increase transparency in that process and create possibly a liaison between the state and the county commissions for those entities. As part of this community, I will commit to fund and protect our 2 state parks that are in Morgan County. I promise to be accessible to all and have town meetings so I can reliably to be a reliable conduit for my constituents to the state. I'm a huge advocate for locality pay for our teachers, our service personnel, and actually our first responders. When I was a county commissioner, everybody jumps from Hampshire, Morgan, Berkeley, Jefferson, right out the door to Maryland and Virginia. It's been going on for years and years and years. I will promise to stand up and fight the moral transmission line for the citizens of Hampshire County. I will promise to represent you, my constituents, not the governor, not special interest groups, and not lobbyists. I want to give my sincere appreciation for the positive private messages that help me continue on this path. It does indeed mean a lot to me. I would like to end with this. After this election is over, the out-of-state special interest groups and organizations that are trying to buy this election and influence your vote will be long gone, not getting 2 cents about you in our community. I, however, will still be working just down the road. Thank you for your time, and I'm asking for your vote. Again, my name is Ken Reed.
Misery loves company. A lot of us here are not politicians. Good afternoon, everybody. I also want to thank Kate and the messenger for putting this on and the Legion. Before I ever served in the legislature, my mornings didn't start under the gold dome in Charleston. They started before daylight, checking livestock, working the farm, and doing the same kind of work so many families in District 15 still do every single day. I learned early that in West Virginia, nothing is handed to you. You work for it. You take care of your neighbors. You keep your word. And when challenges come, and they always do, you don't quit. Those lessons shaped who I am long before public office. I'm Darren J. Thorne, a Christian, a husband, a father, a grandfather, a farmer, and a lifelong West Virginian. I didn't go to Charleston to become a politician. I stepped forward to stand for rural West Virginia, protecting our freedoms and ensuring our communities are heard, respected, and never left behind. Carrying those values with me to Charleston meant focusing on results, not headlines, not politics, but real accomplishments that make a difference for the people of District 15. During the 2026 legislative session, I served on several key committees, Vice Chair of Agriculture, Finance, Economic Development, School Choice, to just name a few of those. These committees allowed me to work directly on issues that impact our region most: agriculture, job creation, infrastructure, education, and economic growth. One of my priorities this session was protecting individual freedoms in rapidly changing world. I was proud to serve as the lead sponsor of Senate Bill 84, strengthening protections against government surveillance. As technology advances, our constitutional rights must advance with it. West Virginia deserves safety without sacrificing privacy or personal liberties. Education was another focus of mine. As lead sponsor of Senate Bill 899, we created additional pathways allowing experienced teachers to become school principals. The best school leadership often comes from those who understand the classroom firsthand, and this legislation helps retain talented educators while strengthening our schools. We also worked to grow our economy through Senate Bill 1, supporting small business development across West Virginia. Small businesses are the backbone of rural communities. When we remove barriers for entrepreneurs, we create jobs, strengthen main streets, and give young people reason to build their future here at home. Another important bill I sponsored was Senate Bill 669, addressing the powers of the PSC. This legislation ensured that West Virginia consumers cannot have their utility rates increased to pay for projects that do not directly benefit our state. Simply put, if a project doesn't help West Virginia families and businesses, West Virginians should not be forced to pay for it. This bill passed the Senate unanimously, but unfortunately died in the House Energy and Public Works Committee. We also continued working together to improve teacher recruitment and retention, including efforts to advance locality pay so our border counties can compete for and keep quality educators in our classrooms. While much of our work happens through legislation and policy, economic development in West Virginia, it's not just something written into law. It grows from the ground up. Nowhere is that more evident than in agriculture and our rural economy. As a farmer, agriculture is not just policy to me, it's personal. Agriculture remains one of West Virginia's strongest economic drivers. Real economic development in rural West Virginia does not always come from large corporations. It comes from family farms, livestock producers, forestry, agritourism.
30 seconds.
Veterinarians, ag businesses, and tourism all matter. But our future still depends on people willing to put boots in the dirt, working the land, raising animals, and feeding our communities. Supporting agriculture means supporting independence, local jobs, and the next generation willing to carry on this way of life. We'll just close it there, but I ask for your all's vote. Darren J. Thorne. I am always willing to listen. There's nobody here that can argue that fact. I appreciate your time today. God bless.
Kate, Morgan Messenger, Legionnaires, thank you. It's a great honor to be here and speak in this building for the first time. As Ken always says, by this time of the itinerary, everyone's bored to death, so I'll try to be a little lively. But, I'd like to start off with my background, and I'm born and raised Hampshire County, West Virginia, just across the Morgan County line there, or excuse me, just across the Old Town Bridge there. I always say it's like my cousin county because we used to play ball against the Paw Paw boys. We'd all meet in Old Town. Anyways, my family's been here, blood, sweat, and sacrifice here, raised families, businesses here since it was Virginia. So as Ken said, there's nobody, that could really identify with the sacrifice and, you know, what we need as a community. I was the first canon in my family ever to graduate college. I went to WVU. I got a bachelor in history and minor in criminology. I started my business in 2013 as soon as I graduated, and ironically started working for the local mayor there and her husband, Judge Tom Cadle, and they thought I would make a good addition to the city council. I was a city councilman in Romney, their youngest ever, and I'm proud to say that because in my old county, in the oldest city, it was always said that if you weren't in the good old boys club, you could never get anything done. There was no way to break that mold. And I got in because of my heart originally. And I later ran for county commission because I got mad at the way the job was being done. And I'm very, very proud to say, and I would assert, unless somebody can correct me, that we had the most successful county commission in our county's history. We raised county valuations in my one term over $150 million, firmly solidified the county as a class 2 county. I was commissioner on economic development, the county planning commission, PVTA transportation. I was chairman of the criminal justice board for 2 years, my final 2 years. We lowered our jail bills, worked with the prosecutor, worked with our judges, and our multi-county jurisdiction with the criminal justice board should be proof that I can certainly bring leaders together to make change and good change. And the criminal justice board I'm proud of because as a conservative, you know, you want to be tough on crime, and we were. So I implemented policies where it was a second chance program. Our jail bills were getting out of sight, and a lot of times that's a good sign that you're putting the right people away. But I issued a policy where it's a second chance policy. It's for nonviolent offenders only, and sexual predators and violent criminals that does not apply to. But I'd like to go down a quick list of accomplishments. I know my time's running out, but we worked with the school system to build 3 new schools. We worked hard to get the community to pass the school bond, which is not easy to do in a very conservative county, pass another tax, if you will. The commissioners obviously just allow or disallow that type of thing on the ballot, but I did support them openly, although I didn't get a vote in the matter other than on the ballot. We got rid of an old ailing hospital. It was a white elephant. It was a multi-million-dollar, the old Hampshire Memorial Hospital, sitting there rotting down. We traded with the school system for that property, a clean slate for a clean slate, built a brand new school there. The new ground is being demolished, and we're hoping to develop that later for economic development now. We built $1 million EMS building using over 75% grant funding. We did work with Governor Justice to get a $2.7 million expansion on our health department. And during COVID times, that was much needed. Completed our $1 million convention center on River Road in Hampshire County, which is an event center for kids. We worked with community members, zero taxpayer dollars, to build a softball field for the girls because the Little League had the Little League for boys, and girls weren't quite as well attended to. So I got a group of people together and we made that goal a reality.
30 seconds.
Long story short, you should look at leaders who can bring people together for common goals. And I believe I have a strong track record of doing that. And passed 3 bills as a freshman through both houses, signed into law. I'm concentrated on working on real problems. Don't always believe the media. It seems that they're hell bent on making us look like we can't govern. You must triangulate your information and really dig into your candidates. I am actually from here. I didn't just move here and want to meddle in the politics. I really believe in the people. These are my people. This is my family. I own 3 businesses here. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Joanne Hepworth. I'm running for a delegate
for the 89th district. And happy to be here. I am a 30-year veteran of the criminal trial courts in DC and in federal court. And I also have been the compliance director of a clean and sober streets recovery residential treatment program. I am running for delegate because I am in love with the rural community of Hampshire and Morgan County. This place is so beautiful and so full of life and beauty that I am determined to keep it safe. My platform is to preserve our natural resources, protect our water supply, our air, and our rural area, our rural way of life. It is extremely important to me that we understand that we are at risk of losing this beautiful, beautiful Potomac Highlands. This area is just very ripe for economic development based on recovery and healing and serving the health needs of people and the recreational needs of the booming metropolises all around us. We have Washington, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, all kinds of areas with high populations that are starved for peaceful recreation, and we have that, we can offer that. I am determined to protect the people, the land, the mountains, the rivers, and the streams, and the air quality. I live on the Potomac, on the Capon River, which is the most beautiful river in the world. And it's absolutely fabulous and well suited for peaceful, beautiful recreation. And I also want to defend our Constitution and our state constitution. And I'm absolutely appalled at the 2014 amendment that deprives us of the say of these data centers. We have to be able to protect our water, to protect our farmlands. We have to be able to protect what we have to enjoy. And we can't do that if the legislature in Charleston passes these rules that say we can't have any say so. That's not appropriate. We need to fight that. And I, as a trial lawyer, I fought all my career. And I promise to you that I will continue to fight for everything that I've said here. And I hope I ask for your vote, J.R. Hepworth, in the primary. Thank you.
The last couple of things of these type things I've been fighting Mike. So how does that work? Yes. All right. I want to thank Kate and Morgan Messenger and the Legion for sponsoring this candidate forum. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself to you. My name is John Zupan. I'm running for the Democratic nomination for the House of Delegates, District 89, other side of Capon Mountain, parts of Morgan and Hampshire counties. A little bit about me. I've been married to Susan for 38 years, an incredible blessing from the universe. The blessings continued with 2 sons, 2 daughters-in-law, and 3 granddaughters who remind me every day why the future matters. I grew up in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, proud son of the Rust Belt and 3-flood city. My path has since taken me across the country and back again. At the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, I double majored in biology and chemistry. I earned my PhD in botany from the University of California, Berkeley. And then for over 30 years, I worked at UC Berkeley in molecular microbiology, doing basic research with real-world applications such as identifying new targets for antibiotics. So what does that mean? What does the scientific background, what of the scientific background do I bring to the legislative table? I'm driven by data, so you take a look at what evidence there is of policies work. You continue those that do. You find something new for those that don't. I rely on rigorous process, and science has made me, I discovered, very future oriented. I'm happy to tell you how Susan and I got from California to this area for our retirement years, but I only have 5 minutes. So why am I running? Initially, I'm running because choice is fundamental to democracy. When there's only one person on the ballot running for any position, we are denied that choice. And as I paid attention to the most recent legislative session in Charleston, I became increasingly concerned that Charleston is disconnected from some of the real challenges facing West Virginians. So I'm running to offer a choice about what issues we address, how those issues are addressed to ensure a bright, promising future for ourselves, our children, our grandchildren. I offer a choice about how business will be done in Charleston. So let's talk about those challenges that I think have gotten short shrift in Charleston. First, data centers. We can go through this one pretty quick because everybody's already talked about it. I believe most of the candidates, regardless of political affiliation, are unhappy with Charleston's data center policies, as am I. I guess Charleston did not get that memo. Rest assured, I will fight to restore the voice of West Virginians in Charleston, because decisions that affect your home and my home should include our voice. I want to talk about a complex problem now that touches on lots of issues: brain drain. West Virginia is losing too many of its young people. Every person who leaves is one less innovator, one less contributor helping to build our future. We must reverse this trend and ask, how do we make West Virginia the place where businesses want to invest and where our young people have the option to stay? Let's start with education. Families already here deserve strong public schools. Families who would move here want to see strong public schools. And finally, employers need an educated workforce. Charleston has not provided adequate funding for public education, preventing our school districts from hiring and retaining excellent teachers, supporting students with special needs, and maintaining safe, modern facilities. It is my belief that we cannot let Charleston continue to defund public education. We also need to talk about Charleston's neglect of infrastructure, starting with something as basic and vital as drinking water. Now, I know that doesn't affect us yet, but who knows when the time might come. And if they aren't any more responsive, we're going to be in trouble.
30 seconds.
Public water systems throughout West Virginia deliver brown water into people's homes, and no West Virginian should have to wonder whether their water is safe. Finally, a thought on healthcare. The government has cut Medicare, especially Medicaid. Charleston is funding the state's share of Medicaid through a patchwork of budget gimmicks of doubtful sustainability. In the words of one healthcare analyst, quote, "We're digging through the couch cushions to fund Medicaid." That's not my idea of how state government works. I've heard some of my ideas. This should be a two-way street. I look forward to hearing your ideas, and if anybody wants to talk about Hope scholarships, happy to do that. And I want to finish by asking for your support so that we can work together and build a future that is a better future for West Virginia. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me back there? Okay, hi. I'm Ashley Brainer and I'm running for District 90 in the House of Delegates. I'm a single mom with 3 children, teenagers at this point. My oldest one is right there. She just turned 18. It'll be her first year of vote. So everybody give it up for her. Yay. I was born and raised in West Virginia. I have a long background of blue collar workers in our history, and that's what I am. I'm a barber by day, so politics was not anything that I wanted to get into, but I feel like right now at this detrimental time, someone needs to step up, and I'm here to do that. There's so many issues in West Virginia that need to be talked about, but I only have 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna hit the three major points that I think that needs to be fixed, or it's gonna be very detrimental to our state. The education, the fact that we cannot afford anything, and our voices are not being heard. Let's start with education. The education system is failing tremendously. We're losing, everybody has talked about it, we're losing teachers and great educators to go across borders. So I think we definitely need to pay our teachers a higher living wage. Also, the insurance premiums that they have right now is actually deducting from their pay. So teachers are actually losing money. So we need to work on the healthcare insurance premiums for them. I also think that we should raise tax credits for the teachers because they put a lot of money into the classrooms out of their own pocket. And I think that they do deserve to just get a little bit of that back. We need to start putting money back into the school programs. My daughter just had her last orchestra concert not too long ago, and they were accepting donations because they cannot afford the program anymore. And it's very sad, and it's our kids don't go just to learn, which of course a curriculum, but they need to do extra things. And with us not being able to fund these programs, our children are suffering tremendously. We also need more resources for the disabled and the behavioral and troubled children. It's just not there anymore. I have a son who is extremely gifted and extremely intelligent, and they are not willing to help me to put him in a higher education, which he needs because it's not showing on paper. He just gave up, and it's really sad. So we need to definitely focus on the education reform. So on to the next, the affordability. I don't know about you, but gas is astronomical, and I am paying almost $200 a week just to make it back and forth to work. And I sit and contemplate almost daily if I can afford to make it to work every day. But a little bit of money is better than no money is what I keep telling myself. So I just keep striving. And I don't know about you, but paying $40 for a 10-pound of hamburger roll is astronomical in my opinion. So we need to get back to investing locally, investing locally, and we need to put more resources back into our farmers and our food resources, not just our small businesses. This will equivalent to a better stability in our economic system. And lastly, our voices aren't being heard. Everybody's been saying about this HB 2014, and I personally think that the bill should either be repealed or there needs to be an amendment. Everyone deserves their voices to be heard, and oversight must happen. Our backyards is not the government's playground, and it is not corporations' playgrounds. It is ours, and we deserve to keep it intact. Historical sites, in my opinion, must stay intact during these builds, and our environment needs to be protected at all costs. Do we deserve the revenue that these data centers could bring? Yes, absolutely. Any revenue to the state of West Virginia is welcome, but we can be smart about decisions, and we can include the people and their decisions as well. I'm here to improve the state. I'm willing to do town hall meetings and the whole nine. Honestly, who's gonna fight more for a working West Virginian than a working West Virginian? So again, I'm Ashley Brainer, and I'm here to fight for all of us. Thank you.
So I'd like to take this opportunity to A, either introduce myself to you, or B, reintroduce myself to you. I'm Dr. Kevin McLaughlin. Who and what am I? I'm the ER doctor up here at the hospital, been there for a long time, 20+ years. So how did I end up here? I grew up in New Jersey, went to a small Catholic college up by Altoona, called St. Francis College at the time. It's now St. Francis University. Met my lovely wife my first day there, and we've been married 33 years. I was recruited here to replace the surgeon that had some medical issues. I'm actually a general surgeon by training. Came here a wonderful time during the medical malpractice of the early 2000s. Seems to be kind of my mantra, get here in the middle of a problem. And life kind of changed. I ended up having to leave general surgery. Just there was a lot going on, and literally as I walked out one door, another window opened. They needed somebody to work Sunday in the emergency room. I was qualified. I had no job, essentially, because I was trying to start my new practice. And that Sunday, I worked in the emergency room. The next week, they called me back, did the same thing, and now 22 years later, they haven't told me not to come back yet. So I guess that part's good. So many of you know me sometimes during the worst parts, sometimes during the best parts of their lives. Who and what am I? I am a Catholic, St. Vincent, the Paul Catholic Church, been there. Kids have been baptized there. We also go up to St. Peter's up in Hancock. Been there as well. I am pro Second Amendment. I am a hunter. I have a 10-point buck shot on Morgan County property, actually just down the street from where I live, sitting in my my computer room, probably to the detriment of my wife. She didn't really like seeing that. That's okay. Actually hunted on several other people here's land. So I'm also pro-Constitution. It is the law of the land. We should probably follow it. You know, the groundwork's there. We just kind of need to do what it said. What my focus would be is, to me, having been a physician here, I've been on president of medical staff. I've also worked as a health officer. I've been a health officer here at Morgan County since the early 2000s. And in 2021, took over for both Berkeley and Morgan County. If I ever write a memoir, one of the chapters, it's going to be Ode Not to Do Something. And that's take over a health department in the middle of a pandemic. That was probably not one of my smartest things, but it actually was a great opportunity to learn about me for myself, and an opportunity to help lead a group of wonderful, caring people. You know, there's a lot of debate on what happened with the pandemic. But I will tell you, each and every one I worked with thought about you. How can we keep our public, people going to our restaurants, the people with our septic systems, our water, everything there at the forefront of their mind. So wonderful people there. It was a great opportunity, and it's still is. The other thing is, why am I running? I am retiring from full-time at the emergency room up at the hospital as of the end of this year.
30 seconds.
Oh, man, that was quick. So the other thing is my big focus will be locality pay. If we cannot focus for Morgan, Berkeley, and the Eastern Panhandle, we're not going to be able to get the teachers, to get the skilled workers. Our government employees deserve it, etc. We've got to work for our area, not just what Charleston wants. So my focus will be you, me, because I live here and have lived here. I appreciate your vote. Vote for Doc. On the ballot, it'll say Kevin McLaughlin, but most people around here know me as Doc. Thank you very much. Everybody give a clap for each other, because it's now 3 o'clock and we're not done yet. So you guys have done a great job being patient. Thank you.
Almost there, we're almost there.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the messenger and the American Legion for inviting us here today. My name is George Miller. I am a politician. When you file for office, we all become politicians. Like it or not, we are politicians. So get ready. It's coming. If you would. I'm not, I'm not here, I'm here to serve and support the conservative values we hold. I am a Christian, a husband, a father, grandfather, and a great grandfather. Got married when I was 11. I support this Second Amendment, the Constitution as it is written. I support lowering taxes, support teachers, all service personnel, law enforcement, veterans, first responders, business owners, retirees, and I'm pro-life. I have been endorsed by the West Virginia State Police, Health Freedom West Virginia Farm Bureau, the Law Pack, West Virginia for Life, and several others. Don't leave what you're seeing from in your mailers. Website help in our state. All problems can be solved, and we have been able to help a lot of people over the past 6 years. Many people have come to me with problems and concerns. I don't just hear them, I listen to them. And I have learned resources are very, very valuable that you learn in Charleston. And if you get in trouble, for example, the Speaker of the House is a very good resource, very intelligent and very smart, I guess. That's good with intelligence. And when something arises beyond the normal situation, he will advise you who to call because they're always in a key position. Some of the accomplishments I'm proud of include I vote for protecting the life of the unborn, for the Raleigh Games, protection of all women in sports, and keeping biological males out of women's locker rooms. We kept the children safe when from transgender surgeries. We passed Lawrence law and increased awareness of penalties and deadly dealing of drugs. We also passed the largest tax cut in the history of West Virginia. That was a couple of years ago. And I would like to continue to serve you because I've got a couple of things going on. You'll see them get completed. My experience will allow me to continue to help us being West Virginia strong. A vote for me is a step forward for a stronger West Virginia. Thank you and Godspeed. And I do not want my time to go to somebody else.
He's gonna stay there. Stand waiting.
Oh, yeah, I can.
I could step out front of the podium so they can see me.
There you go.
All right, let me introduce myself. I also have to wear these things to read as well. I didn't realize that. I had to argue with my wife recently about this. My name is Dan Caldwell. I'm a pastor in Martinsburg, but I've lived in Morgan County most of my life. Our family is from around here. My dad's a contractor, grown up building a lot of things around here. I come from a family of West Virginians. My grandfather was a coal miner in southern West Virginia, one of the superintendents of the coal mines, and my dad was born in southern West Virginia. And so West Virginia is in my blood. I love it. I think it's one of the greatest places in all the world. And if you don't, then you've never been outside of West Virginia to see what's out there. I love West Virginia, and I'm so glad that it's here. I'm glad for all of you that are willing to step out there. No matter what party you're running for, I'm glad that you're running. And I thank you for that. But the fact is this, I do not apologize for being a Christian. I'm a Christian first and foremost, but I'm also a conservative, and I'm running for the House of Delegates in the 90th district. Because I believe that our communities deserve principled leadership. I was not born in West Virginia because my dad got away from the Lord, I say all the time. I moved to Maryland for a few years, and I was born in Baltimore, but then we moved back here because my dad hated the city and hated that city life, and I'm glad that he did. And we came back here, and I spent most of my childhood growing up working on farms in Jefferson County, Morgan County, Berkeley County, baling hay all summer long. And so if you have kids, it's good for them. To get out there and throw bales of hay every once in a while, get out there and get dirty every once in a while. They need to learn that stuff. And so that's a good thing to do. I do believe that our communities deserve principled leadership, practical solutions, and firm commitment to faith, family, and freedom. As I said, I'm a pastor, and so I've spent my life serving people. First of all, I spent 4 years as a law enforcement officer in Winchester, Virginia, while living in Morgan County, and I saw firsthand the importance of law and order and accountability. And now that I'm in the ministry, I see the importance of strengthening families and encouraging personal responsibility in people's lives. And those experiences have helped shape my life in the area of service. My life is people. That's what I do. I live for people, to lead them, to help them, to encourage them, and to try to strengthen them along the way. I believe this with all my heart, that good leaders are people that get out there in front of them and don't just say, go do this. They say, come with me and let's do this together. And so that's what leadership is. In fact, Jesus did that. He told his disciples, follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. And so I'm glad that you all have the opportunity to be here. Thank you all for coming. But those experiences have shaped my convictions and prepared me to serve with integrity. I believe integrity is a word that's missing today. I think integrity is doing the right thing even when you're pushed to do the wrong thing. Integrity is doing right no matter what anybody else says. It's doing right because it's right to do. And our state is at a crossroads, and I believe that we face economic challenges and rising costs and concerns about the direction of our culture. But I believe the answer is not complicated. It's returning to common sense conservative values that build strong communities where we found in the first place. First thing, I want to focus on economic growth and fiscal responsibilities. Families are feeling the strain of the inflation of high taxes, and I'll do everything I can to cut taxes in every way possible. I'll fight to reduce the tax burden of the hardworking West Virginians and support the small businesses and create an environment where jobs can grow right here at home. The government should live, I believe, within the means of its own self, just like our families have to. I believe public safety remains a top priority. I've had the privilege of meeting with Sheriff Walter and others, leaders in our community, just talking with them about concerns and things that they have. And I support our law enforcement, our first responders in every way possible. I believe they give their life each and every day as they go out there to defend our freedoms, to defend us. And I'll do everything I can to defend and help them as well and make sure they have what they need. But not when we say first responders and people that help, I believe our teachers are important in that way too. And I will always vote for locality pay. I think it's important. This area is not like Southern West Virginia. It's different. And I believe we need to keep that in mind. And I think our teachers deserve the pay, and our first responders and all of them deserve the pay for being in this area. Safe communities, I believe, are the foundation for prosperity, and we must stand firm against the crime and support our first responders and uphold the rule of law. I don't believe in lawless activity. I believe that we ought to have law and rule of order there. Third, we must protect our parental rights and uphold the values that matter the most. Parents, I believe, not government, should guide the upbringing of our children. I'll stand for policies that respect family authority and defend life at all costs. I believe that we ought to preserve the freedoms that our nation has strong. And lastly, I believe in limited government and personal liberty. Overreach from Charleston and Washington have no place in our daily lives. I'll oppose those mandates that infringe on you, and I want to both be accountable and accessible If you have any questions about how I can help you, you can go to elect Dan Caldwell or talk to me afterwards. I have flyers. I got here late because I was preaching at church. I didn't think you wanted me to bring my sermon, so I had to come here late. I was dealing with a family, so there, I do have information back there if you'd like to get it. And I want to thank you all and Morgan County Messenger and all for doing this. And I would appreciate your vote on May the 12th. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. I want to thank the Morning Messenger for putting this together. American Legion Post 60 and all y'all. I'm David Jones. I'm running for House of Delegates in District 90. I am a Army veteran. I am a former deputy in the Berkeley County Reserves, and I'm a Rotarian, and I am a member of the American Legion Post 14 and former Sergeant at Arms. I have dedicated my life to service. But I come from a family that has dedicated their life to service. My older brother, U.S. Army veteran, my dad and my uncle, also Army veterans, and they are now in the post everlasting. God bless them. Both my granddads were coal miners in the Whipple coal mines outside of Oak Hill, and we're at Blair Mountain. I'm sure everybody knows about Blair Mountain.
school residents, and we do monthly trainings for emergency preparedness. We have around 90 amateur vehicle operators here in the county and backup repeaters and antennas for keeping people networked for significant disasters in the county. What happened in North Carolina and Tennessee happens in Morgan County, we will be in a much better position because everyone's able to communicate. Both the backup for the law enforcement 911 system is MCECN. In case you didn't know. I am honored to be in the center of the town of validated by River Gaze Law Building, and now we can brag, since I run my holistic health spa business out of it, that we are continuing to have more massage therapists and lawyers in the town, despite it being the county seat. If Morgan County residents feel fit to elect me, I will be able to walk to work to the county commission. My number one priority is transparency, as a lot of people have mentioned here. I really believe strongly that we do not yield, we the people do not yield our sovereignty to the agencies that we've created.
Yeah.
My home state has the strongest open meeting law of anyone in the entire country. My best friend's dad wrote it. So I've read our open meeting law. I think it's a little bit vague. We need to really tighten it up. So maybe we can look to Idaho to tighten it up, because when you have rumors going around, it does not help at all. County commissioners need to be hosting public hearings. It's at the first sign of rumors about businesses coming into town or not, or whatever's going on. We really need to focus on communications and transparency. And affordability, property rights, and low taxes are my other priorities. So we have a lot of need in the county, and the last thing we want to do is raise taxes and make it less affordable for our seniors and our young people who we need to attract to stay here. My website is electpriscillajones.com. Feel free to reach out to me. I've had people calling me left and right to try to get more signs, and I just ordered another batch. So thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Joel was next.
All right, I'll go last.
Oh, go ahead, Joel. Sorry.
He's so excited.
Yeah.
He does say, "Well, that was new."
I say, black.
Guys, work it out. Whatever you like.
I was taught to be a gentleman, so I was gonna let the ladies go first. Certainly want to thank all of you all for coming and being here today, and thanks to the candidates. I know I've said this in other meetings before, but it takes a lot of courage to put your name on that paper, fill it in, and become a candidate. You can ask some of the folks in this room, sometimes running an election is it's not pretty sometimes, so I think you all probably know what I'm talking about. My name is Joel Tuttle, and I am running for Morgan County Commission. This is a re-election bid for me, and I currently serve as the County Commission President. I am West Virginia born and raised. I grew up in Fairmont, West Virginia, and then I went to WVU, and I got my master's degree there in labor relations after my bachelor's degree in human resource management. The most important thing that happened at WVU is I met a girl from Berkeley Springs. So my wife's here with me today. My daughter's here too. Thank you both for being here. She drugged me, maybe kind of like Ken. We got drugged across the state. We landed in the Eastern Panhandle, and I've been here since 2000. So, we actually got married just down the street, Union Chapel United Methodist Church, and we had our wedding reception at the lodge at Cajun State Park, and it was the first event that they held in that, not the new lodge now, but at the time they'd done that addition. So that's kind of some cool history about us. No offense to some of the state and federal politicians in the room, but I think that a county commissioner is the most important elected position, because I really believe that this is where the rubber meets the road. These folks need dozens, maybe hundreds of votes. People will side with them, vote with them to get things done, but at the county commission, you only need 2. So if you're passionate about something, you only have to talk one other person into being passionate about it as well. As a commissioner, obviously, I work for you. There's plenty of things that we can do at the county level, but just like I think the lady had to leave, but she gave me a paper. She has an issue. It's nothing the county can handle, but it's something that she wants to bring attention to at the state level. And that's a lot of what we do, actually, is make contacts and try to advocate for our citizens. One of my slogans, if you will, is Morgan County's fair share. And basically, I'm just what that means is there's pots of money. The state and particularly the federal government, we know that they waste a lot of money, but they are going to spend the money somewhere. And we just believe, I believe that we need to get as much of that pot as we can in Morgan County. And a good example that I used before was the water and sewer expansion. That's a $6 million project. 3.3 million of that is from the federal government. And we got the state government to kick in the other 2.7 million. There won't be one penny of Morgan County taxpayer dollars spent on that project. And that's the kind of things we like to do. Something that you all may not know, I know people talk a lot about water, but the reason it becomes important is because what's going on in the southern part of the state. I'm not so worried that we're going to run out of water in Morgan County, but what a lot of us in the room know is that we're running out of water filtration capacity in Morgan County, and it's happening sooner than you think. We've had a few large developers I know that have applied to the town for water, and there's going to come a day very soon, and you can talk to Greg, he knows a lot about it, but very soon when we won't be able to give somebody water when they apply because we're not going to have it anymore. I mean, they're going to be capacity, the filtration. And you can spend $6 million and they're talking about making it bigger. You spend $6 million, that just kicks the can down the road. So one thing that comes with economic growth and infrastructure growth is obviously we have to have the capacity to handle it. And one of our things that we've worked on and we will continue to work on is finding a secondary water source in Morgan County. You might think sounds like a town problem, but the people that are asking for water are not in the town. They're outside the town limits, so it's a county problem. Hey, before I forget, I wanted to say, is it John Kanofsky?
Yes.
If you don't win in your election and you're looking for things to do, we've got a lot of stuff I can sit you on. We got all kinds of things you can volunteer to do. This one, I knew I'd forget if I didn't mention that. A couple of the other things that I've been working on and things that are kind of priorities. I want to find 30 seconds. Finalize public transportation. That should be happening by the fall. Continue to increase recreational opportunities. We've done a lot of that in the last few years. And maintain premium emergency services. You can talk to the fire departments, you can talk to the EMS, you can talk to the sheriff, and they'll all agree that we have done a very good job working with them and doing these things. So this is the most important thing on your paper, not the rest of those things. You guys got to get out to vote. I think there's going to be a low voter turnout at this election, so make sure you get out there. And basically, I'll say from Paul to Pleasant View and Greenwood to Great Capon, our people are the best, and I want to continue to represent you. Please vote for me on May the 12th. Thank you.
Hello, thank you all for sitting here. This has been a long time. It's been great to get to meet y'all. I'm Judith Shoemate, I'm running for Morgan County Commissioner. So I want to share with you some of my background. I was born to teenage parents in Wilkes County, North Carolina. It's in the northwest corner, deep in the Brushy Mountains, which is right part of the Appalachian Range. Because my parents were so young, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. My Mamaw Pearl, it doesn't get any more Appalachian than that. Was hard work, and she expected it from me. She was the cafeteria manager at my high school. My Papa Roy and his brother had a sawmill, and they bought tracts of timber and cut lumber for the furniture factories. The year I turned 13, I had a valuable summer. My grandfather decided it was time for me to go work at the sawmill. So I got $5 and my grandma packed my lunch, and with any luck at all, there was a piece of her pound cake in it. I would love to have a piece of that pound cake now. But my specialty was off-bearing. Does anybody know what that is? That's the bad end of the stick. So when it goes through the sawmill and they're squaring up the timber, somebody has to pick up the slab that comes up and throw it up on a big pile of slabs. So that was my specialty. I only worked when we were just squaring up the timbers, and it was hard. It was very hard. So at the end of that summer, my grandfather sat me down and talked to me. And he goes, "Why did you think I wanted you to do that?" You know, I don't know, Papa, you wanted $5 help. I didn't know. He goes, "I wanted it because I want you to learn to work with your mind and not with your back like I had to." He had to quit school after the 6th grade. and go to work at the sawmill with his dad. That really stuck with me. And I applied those lessons for all those years I worked at nuclear power plants, 35 of them. I started out as a welding inspector trainee, worked my way up through operations and work management, retired after 35 years as senior manager. During that time, I've managed multi-million-dollar budgets, managed equipment, upgrades and maintenance, nuclear fuel storage, among other things. One of the strangest jobs I had nuclear fuel storage under me and facilities. So I had toilet paper to spent nuclear rods. It was a strange job. Along the way, I was certified fire brigade member, first responder, site emergency response lead, confined space rescue, hazardous material, incident commander. And I want to use all this experience to serve Morgan County. I've been here for 7 years. And a lot of the people that I've met in this room and out in the community grew up like I did. I've been coming to West Virginia forever, it seems like. I have family all over this town. 2 of my grandchildren graduated from Berkeley Springs High School, and one's at Shepherd right now doing good, and we're really proud of her. I have done some volunteer work. I've worked on the Bath Christmas Project. I've been a fill-in for the backpack program. I work at the community kitchen down the road, and I help organize the volunteers for the hospital blood drops. So I'm here to stay. I want to protect what we have and plan for the future. The things we want are pretty simple. We want safe drinking water. We want to protect our landowner rights, and we want our kids and grandkids to have it better than us. But we need to prepare and plan for it, or we're going to get steamrolled by people who don't care about our county. Water is so vital to this community. We've all talked about it. The water treatment plant is at 80%, and almost everybody in this county is on a well. The last time we did a hydrology survey was 2007, 19 years ago. That has to be updated. We have to ensure that we are guarding our water supply. I think about the people in southern West Virginia that didn't do that and didn't have the means to do that, but we do.
30 seconds.
We want to safeguard the people, communities, and natural resources that make Morgan County so very special. Every community in this county has its own personality, and they're the ones I think about. When I think about Paw Paw, I think about Tunnel. When I think of Greenwood, I think about apple butter. And Great Cacapon has the most pristine river on the East Coast. We can use these assets to improve our economy. Across the land, areas like this are bringing revenue and quality of life improvements. And there's good things that we can do. And one simple one I would like to see is a walkway that goes from town to Food Line. Thank you. I'm Gina Shoemate, and I want to be your next commissioner.
Well, you guys are so popular that we have 2 more candidates who came all the way here because they're like, we heard that we'll see more in Berkeley Springs. So we have 2 additional people that are on the ballot who confirmed after the program was rented. 2 more. They're probably not even going to take 5 minutes each. Come on. So, yeah, there you are.
I'll get this.
Robert and Stephanie, and then you have to eat the rest of the cookies.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Wolford. I teach at Romney Middle School. I'm from Hampshire County. My family came to this area in 1730. I think somebody was here earlier that beat that record. I have a very good connection with Berkeley Springs, and I certainly want to share that with you. If you went to Berkeley Springs, Whitmire Elementary School, you may have met my uncle, Johnny Blueball.
Oh, yeah. Great guy.
And to say that he was a great guy is such an understatement. He took care of his mom and dad. And what he did behind the scenes as far as making ends meet for my good parents, for Rosie and Jimmy Large, etc., is just phenomenal. His father also, he worked there at the Berkeley Springs High School. And if you know anything about John Blueball Sr., He walked around Berkeley Springs collecting stuff off the street, picking up little cans, things of this nature. And weekend, we come down from Romney, and him and my father would strip copper wire, basically get scrap material, process it. But if Grandpa saw anything that was kind of interesting, like down here in Warm Springs Run, I got volunteered. I've been throwing more dumpsters in this town than I could possibly ever count, but I at least got a High's ice cream coming out of the deal. 305 Union Street, right across from Halsey Johnson Funeral Home. I don't know what the name of it is now. Is it still Halsey Johnson? It is. Okay, great. Anyway, I come to meet with you this evening, this afternoon, my apologies. As a school teacher, I teach Raleigh Middle School. I teach West Virginia Studies. I teach 8th graders. I say that to some people, and they say, oh, 14-year-olds. They're absolutely the most dynamic group you ever want to work with. They're right at that cusp of adulthood, leaving their adolescent years and trying to find themselves. And certainly that is sort of a portrayal of what West Virginia is right now in the greater United States. Out of this great nation, West Virginia has been sort of that child of rebellion. Certainly we were created during the American Civil War. But the struggle that we have had in your mentioning of Blair Mountain, that was very classic, was a standing up for what it is to be West Virginia. We have historically been a pass-through area, people wanting to get from the East Coast to the Ohio River Valley and into the Midwest, had to struggle through our mountains. Those that chose to stay, certainly the most stalwart that you will ever find on the face of the earth. I left West Virginia when I graduated high school. Actually, before I graduated high school, I did the split option program. I don't know. Anybody else do the split option program? Go back to senior year in the camouflage BDUs? Nobody else did it. Left West Virginia for 6 years, off in the U.S. Army. Had some great experiences there. The route I took following the Army was, of course, the GI Bill. I graduated Shepherd College, Shepherd University now, with a secondary education degree in social studies. And then I went on to California University of Pennsylvania and did my master's in history. Some of the other experiences I've had of worthy note. I'm a husband, I'm a father. I, of course, a veteran. I'm a trauma survivor. I also got a very bad diagnosis 2 years ago, but fortunately it's in remission at this time. So I have that rounded experience of thinking to myself, wait a minute here, why is it that we struggle so much in West Virginia? We certainly want to stop and think to ourselves, what is it we're being asked to do in this great nation? The nation has asked us to be quiet, to accept that which they offer. And I think that is just rude. I think that was disrespectful. And I think that is absolutely unjust. Building a power line across Hampshire County to the objection of every property of every Hampshire County is a reflection of what this nation thinks of West Virginia. It is a great nation. This is a great nation. And maybe our views on things don't amount to a hill of beans, but this is our hill. These are our beans. And this is a hill I'm willing to fight for. Thank you very much.
No, okay, a second. Here, say what who's.
Listen, I'll talk fast. For those of you who played Legion Ball, I'm striking out today. Started with a flat tire, missed mass, and I think I might be crashing a party. I'm honored to be here with you today, and I want to thank the Legion and the Morgan Messenger for allowing me to speak, and I want to thank you guys for allowing me to speak. I know you're all tired and probably ready to go. I'll be really quick. My name is Stephanie Tamana, and I'm running for United States Congress. I'm a science teacher, like Joel, born and raised in the heart of Marion County, and I'm proud to say that my husband Chris and I have raised our girls in that town too. I won't say when we graduated high school, but we're both 29. I always feel like I'm giving a resume at this point. You know, the truth is, like me, like you, when you grow up in small towns, you learn to wear a lot of hats. You sit the LSIC, you coach the teams, you sit the town board of directors, you put on mud boots and go dig out drains, you plow roads, you run towards your neighbor's burning house and then spend the next year writing a congressional spending request for fire hydrants. We're no different. We all have those hurdles, and we've all been at some point felt left alone. See, I'm talking too fast. And I never use notes. I don't know why I even make them. I put over 3,000 miles into this campaign and want to ask you one question. How many of you have ever contacted a member of your congressional delegation? How many of you have ever had a meaningful reply back? You know, it's mixed reviews. Your zip code shouldn't dictate whether you have representation. For the 2/3 of us that live in rural West Virginia, in places where potholes outnumber paychecks and we're afraid to drink the water, we feel underrepresented at best. The truth is, you cannot legislate to a life you haven't lived. We have a history of being exploited for one resource after another: timber, coal, oil, gas. Now it's water and farmland. They want to put a transmission line from my back door to yours, and they don't want to ask. You know, West Virginia has paid more of a price for the security, the industry, and the energy of this country than any other state. Our miners gave a life for it. The southern coal fields, the Ohio Valley, right here, you're giving your water. Farmland across the state has been taken for fracking pads and solar fields. It's not right. They promised us lower gas prices. Do you remember that? In the last 10 years, we've seen our energy prices raise 70%. Meanwhile, where I live, you pass 27 sand trucks on the way to work and your potholes have names. You know, and all of this is facilitated by the same people who are supposed to represent us. I've lived in West Virginia my whole life. We're good people. We work hard, we pay our taxes, and we try to do the right thing. And it doesn't matter, Democrat, Independent, Republican, we deserve better. And I really believe at this point we have to step up and demand it on both sides of the aisle, up and down the ballot. 65,000 West Virginians don't have access to clean drinking water. There's something like 16,000 miles of roadway that needs repaired. 85% of the counties are healthcare deserts. My mom broke her femur a month ago. It took 21 hours and 2 transports to get her to a hospital where they could address her injury. We deserve better. You know, 1 in 4 of our students lives in poverty. Do you know what that looks like? I have students who cannot afford a pencil. I have students who walk in that door with nothing but a dirty hoodie and a backpack full of pain and trauma, the foster care crisis, the opioid epidemic, housing insecurity, food insecurity, and we ask them to sit and to focus. I cannot tell you how it makes my blood boil to reduce them to nothing but talking points and test scores. Our children deserve better. Economists are clear. Unless we have a foundation, and that's infrastructure, education, and healthcare, we will never have an economy where we can have opportunity. It will always be across state lines, and it will always be we will always see our children at our greatest export. I'm trying to talk so fast.
30
and,
seconds.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I know I'm rattling on. Our children have become our greatest export, and they deserve better. Mine are no exception. We deserve clean drinking water. We deserve roads that are safe. We deserve fully funded schools. More than half of our budget comes from federal dollars. We deserve accountability for those dollars. You know, there are places, despite years of investment, still do not have broadband. Mine's one of them. We deserve better. I believe with all that I am that we have a better future than what we've been given. And that is why I put my name on this ballot. It's easy to remember me. I'm the only woman, and I have to put this plug in. This year, we have more women on the ballot than we've ever had in the state of West Virginia. The only woman, the only teacher, and I'm a union member on the federal ticket. And come May 12th, I'd really appreciate your consideration. I'm Stephanie Tamana, and I'm running for Congress.
Thank you all for coming. Wait a minute.